Hey, YouTube. I'm here because I want to talk about the show How I Met Your Mother. It was my favorite show for a long time. I loved it. I just loved the relationships between the characters. I think they were really well done. They were really sincere, and they're just they were realistic in like a TV kind of way. They're just a lot of fun to see grow and develop, and how friendly the characters were with each other, and their sincere comments and stuff. Like, it was good. And I know the show has been getting a lot of backlash because of the ending, and everyone hates it. It's pretty much unanimous. Everyone's like, oh my gosh, the ending of How I Met Your Mother ruined the entire experience for me, or the ending was just awful, like, watch all the seasons but the ninth one. But honestly, I kind of see it differently, and that's like, and I mean, everyone's entitled to their opinion, of course, but at the same time, like, I want to share mine. And mine is that the show kind of went in a good direction. I do vouch for the fact that the ending wasn't done well. In the way where the last three episodes, it looks like they took a drop in quality. The jokes weren't as funny. The execution wasn't as good. Even, like, there's characters on the show who said in press conferences, or not, well, interviews, that like there were parts of of the season finale that were cut out that would have probably made it more memorable or more meaningful. They just, I don't know. I didn't enjoy watching it as much as I enjoyed watching the rest of the show. But at the same time, I feel what they did is justifiable. I do like what they did with the ending, and I want to talk about it. So the reason I think that is because, just like how the kids said in the last episode of the show was less about the mom, it was more about Ted and Robin, and I'm going to defend that. Because throughout the show, Ted and Robin get together a couple of times. They're only in a relationship for 1 year and near the beginning of the show, but at the same time, they have moments where they're thinking, like, why aren't we together? Why shouldn't we be together? And they have those moments throughout the show. And every single time, the only reason they can come up with as to not be together is, what about our future? They use what ifs to decide their relationship. It's never that they don't like each other. It's never that they don't care about each other. It is mutually decided throughout the show that they love each other. There's no reason they should be together, but they shouldn't be together, but every time they talk about it, they say, well, I think my future is going down a different path. I think that I'm going to have different opportunities come to me than you will, and so it's just easier not to be together. And throughout the entire show, that's the justification they use, and they pursue different people, and they try to make different things work, while the entire time they love each other, and each other is hanging over their head. They never are platonic, really. They're always in the back of their minds loving the other person. And the entire show is about the fact, like, you can try to work around a relationship, you can try to manage love, you can try to think, like, I love this person, but my schedule, but my life, but my career, but my direction, or you can just go for it and try to make it work. You can be waiting for that perfect person who checks all of your boxes, or you can go with someone you just love, who balances you out. And I think Ted and Robin balance each other out perfectly. Maybe not perfectly, but I think that Robin is too, I don't want to be what people call slut-shamey, but like, she's too loose in her, she doesn't know what she wants. She will sleep with any guy because she wants something, she wants some kind of hole filled, or she just wants some kind of sexual justification, I don't know. But she's too loose, she's too much of a loose cannon. And then when Ted is around, she feels just more validated in that ease, and she's more comfortable with who she is. I find that when they're together, she's just much less, she likes herself better as a person. She likes who she is. I found that Robin and Barney were too, they complemented each other too well. Well, they both were selfish, and they both wanted the same things, and it just couldn't work. Because Robin and Ted balanced each other out. Robin gave Ted what he needed, which was just the stability. Ted was so much of a, like, oh my gosh, I need to, please, and I need to do this, and I need to get everyone, like, this French horn, and I need to work so hard to do this. And then when Robin came, Robin just gave him, like, a stop. You can stop now, you can settle, just love me kind of thing. And it was great to see. It was great to see when they were together, and then the only reason they stopped being together was because they tried to control their futures. And then the show shows you at the end, like, if you had just stayed, because you stayed in the same town anyway, for 9 years you stayed in the same place. You should have just been together the whole time instead of worrying about which direction your careers were headed. And so the show showed you that, like, the entire time they could have just been together. And then the entire time Ted was looking for the one who would check all of his boxes. Sorry, the battery thing just came up. The one who would check all of his boxes, and the show gave it to you at the end. But what the show was trying to do was show you how unrealistic of an expectation that is. Because it even said, like, Tracy, the mother, is the person who went on all those crazy long road trips and collected stamps and did all these things that Ted did. And the show gave you, like, okay, so you want someone who is everything you want them to be? Here they are, but then she dies. And that's the show telling you this person doesn't exist. It gave you this person at the end of the show as, like, okay, here's Ted's perfect woman, and it kills her off to show you that that person never isn't actually an option for you, because people wanted that to be the ending of the show. They wanted it to be happy. Ted found, like, the one who is all of these things he wants her to be, but she doesn't, like, that person, you're not going to find that person. You're not going to find the person who will go along with you in every little thing. Maybe they will because they love you, but they're not going to enjoy all of the things you're going to enjoy because they're going to be their own person. And he found like a female Ted, and that person wouldn't realistically exist. And so she died. She was gone. And then Ted, I hope I'm explaining this well enough. I hope it's not just going to be a bunch of misunderstandings. But in the end, this perfect person won't be there. And so that's why she had to be removed from the picture for Ted to... Like, I feel like that was the sake of a plot twist, where it's like, oh, here's the perfect person. Psych, not there anymore. And then Ted suddenly had to realize, the entire time I've loved Robin, and the entire time Robin has loved me, why don't we just be together? And it's the end of the show, which is showcasing the fact that they're realizing, like, okay, put everything else aside, we love each other. Let's stop trying to control our future, stop telling ourselves we're too old, stop telling ourselves, oh, what if she has to leave, stop telling ourselves anything other than the fact that we love each other. And then that's what they realize at the end of the show, and they just go for it. And I think it's a great wrap-up. I honestly do. I think that it's a thing that they were trying to control the entire time, and then they just didn't have to at the end. And on a side note, I mentioned Barney a little bit. Barney's character development in this show is amazing. Just looking at him in the first season and then the last season, where, like, he, like, sort of a parallel to where in the first season he hits on a bunch of girls at the bar and he's like, oh, look at them, and he goes and he does his thing. Where in the last season he sees a bunch of girls at the bar and then he goes, but instead of hitting on them, he tells them, like, why are you out so late? You're too young. Go home. Put on a sweater. Like, I don't know. But I just, like, it's cool. Maybe it came off as a little forced. But just because of the execution. But at the same time, I like what they did with his character. People say his character was ruined because after so long of, like, building up his character, and then he was with Robin, and then suddenly there was a divorce, and then suddenly he goes back and all the character development was destroyed because he has a perfect month. That's so not true. That was a relapse. Those happen. Those are so common. It's like he got to this point where he's married, except then, like, it's not perfect, doesn't work out the way he will, which is life, and then it's ended, and so, because they're both too non-caring to be together. Like, they're both put themselves first, which is just who they are, I suppose. But then at the same time, Robin needed someone who put her first, and that was Ted. And Ted needed someone who would ground him in reality, and that was Robin. And Barney needs someone that he can love, which, like, just someone he can love unconditionally, and to stop putting himself first, which was this child that he got. And so Barney wanted to tell himself at the end of his and Robin's relationship, like, oh, I was screwing up the last 9 years, I didn't know what I was doing, I need to go back to where I was, like, in the beginning. And so he tries to have a perfect month, he tells himself, yes, this is what I want, meaningless sex. But obviously that's not true. And he realizes that. At the end, he's like, oh my gosh, I realize now, like, I just needed someone to love meaningfully without putting myself first, and that was this baby. He needed this unconditional thing, unconditional love that he felt, and it was awesome. And I think that where the characters ended up was like validating for me, at least. I hope that this clears up some things for you guys. This video is 10 minutes long. I'm gonna stop it. Thank you if you watched this much. Thumbs down if you don't like it. Bye.